Hey everybody, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, and turn 6 for my 5 Parsecs from Home campaign is about to begin. If you're new, you can check out my recap video that summarizes the whole story so far, or you can watch all 5 of my previous turns to see everything that happens. 5 Parsecs from Home is a sci-fi adventure solo wargame and was written by Ivan Sorensen and published by Modifius Entertainment. I'll explain what my crew is up to now, show my pre-game rolls, play my battle, do my post-game rolls, and be sure to stick around till the very end as I have a short blooper collage regarding something I noticed during my editing process. Let's get to the bricks and blocks of turn 6 for my 5 Parsecs from Home campaign. After leaving Galdos 5, the crew took a roundabout travel route to get to Naltori, a small planet that's situated well to transmit messages around the galaxy. While most of the crew scouted and familiarized themselves with the new location, Danik, Baffy, and Charlie went searching for information about Talfo Yaris, the man who had left Danik a message about meeting to discuss a mutual desire to take down Galactic Solutions. They found coordinates to get to this person, but they had another task to complete first. When the team joined back together, they flew tests to a secluded transmission station in the jungles, but when they were almost prepared to send out the incriminating information regarding Galactic Solutions, sensors started picking up potential hostiles, advancing not far from their location. Leaving Galdos 5 will leave Gibbs Renegade's 2 wealthy patrons behind, but their 2 unknown rivals might follow them. They have 6 credits, 3 story points, can wrap up the quest they're working on this turn, and Tess is completely paid off and free of any hull damage. The team has pooled their equipment to redistribute things during their flight. So Captain Danik Krell will be carrying a military rifle, hand cannon, and machine pistol, and is wearing the combat armor he found after their last battle. He increased his combat stat to +2 and has 2 experience points remaining. Dr. O still has his hand laser with the stun attachment, a military rifle, and is wearing the displacer, which can allow him to teleport around. And he also has 2 experience points. Baffy is now carrying an auto rifle and a machine pistol, and is equipped with Danik's screen generator. He's sitting at 1 experience point after increasing his move. Red Joran is still carrying the auto rifle with the tracker sight, and has attached the bipod they purchased in turn 4, and is wearing Baffy's stealth gear because his outfit looks more stealthy than Baffy's yellow jumpsuit. And he has 7 experience points after taking down an enemy marksman at the end of the last battle. Beldara, who is becoming well respected by the crew and well liked by my viewers for her toughness and kill count, and is carrying her rattle gun with the nanosludge modification and Baffy's blast pistol. She took down the enemy's special agent in their last conflict, and has 2 experience points after increasing her reaction stat. Charlie still has the shotgun and glare sword, and doesn't collect experience points, but hopefully the crew can pay for some stat upgrades for him at some point. Ugrok currently has his brutal melee weapon, colony rifle, and combat armor, and has no experience points since he increased his toughness after the last battle. Alright, to start turn 6, my reputation develops. Every 3rd campaign turn I gain a story point, so that puts us up to 4 story points. And then looking at the campaign steps, I don't have to flee an invasion. However, I am obviously deciding to travel, which is the first time my crew has done this. The page about traveling has instructions for how to travel if you have a ship. It normally costs 5 credits worth of fuel to do that, but also has rules in case you don't have a ship. You can pay 1 credit per crew member, and they can only carry what they can carry. But in this case, I've got my ship. However, during turn 3, during my pre-game rolls, Dr. O ended up trading for some fuel. At that point, I rolled my d6, and it was a total of 5 credits worth of fuel that he obtained. So that will cover all of my travel expenses. So next we'll do Starship travel events. It says, if applicable, if you end up taking a shuttle because you don't have your own ship, you don't have to do travel events for that. But since I do have my own ship, we'll go ahead and roll on the table for 33. And you can roll up all sorts of things that happen, like asteroids getting raided. There's some sort of cosmic phenomenon. And I just simply rolled downtime. It just says it's a long time to just sit here, which is fitting because I took a break between turn 5 and turn 6. And for this, one crew member gets to add +1 experience, and I can repair 1 damaged item. And I guess I'll go ahead and give Baffy the experience point because he needs some more experience. And then I've got some dazzle grenades I found a long time ago that were all damaged, so I'll prepare one of those. Next we go to the New World arrival steps, starting with checking to see if any of my rivals have followed me here. I have 2 rivals that are still unknown, and on a 5+, they will choose to follow me. For the first one, does not stay with me, and the second one, so neither of the rivals have followed me to this new planet. However, I can go back to Galdos 5 at some point, and if I do, they will be there waiting for me. Next, I dismiss patrons. They do not follow you to new planets unless they are persistent, so I'll have no patrons at this new planet. And now I have to check for licensing requirements. So on a 5 or a 6, I have to get a Freelancer's license to perform any patron jobs, and luckily I do not. If I'd rolled a little higher, I'd have to pay 1 to 6 credits to receive that license, or I could try to forge a license like I did on Galdos. And next we'll go to World Traits. Rolling a D100, 14. Well, that's interesting. I thought this planet was going to be kind of a peaceful place where my team turned in their data to some officials. But this place has an invasion risk. I haven't had to roll that yet on any of my other battles, but if I have to here, there's a +1 to the roll to see if enemies might end up invading this planet. And the game includes a wild galaxy option, allowing you to roll up an additional trait for the world. And since that invasion threat might not really even come into play, I'm going to go ahead and roll up a second trait. And that result is a 36. And that roll is restricted education. You must roll a 6+ to be approved for advanced training on this world. I haven't tried any advanced training yet, and I guess I won't be on this world. I guess something's going on here. There's enemies trying to invade this planet, and education has been restricted because of it. So something is definitely in turmoil here. Now I've got a couple items that I need to make some rules for. Back on the first turn, I found a personal trinket, and on each planet I visit, I roll 2d6, and on a 9 or higher, I found the owner of that, and they'll give me a loot if I roll high enough. And on 2d6, I get a 9, so I found a loot. So I'll roll a d100 to see what this is. 80. And that gives us some odds and ends. And I'm hoping to roll high on this, but 4. So that's just 2 consumables. They're both the same item, 70. So that gets me 2 stills. So this gives the user +1 to hit, but they cannot move during this or the next round. It doesn't say how long this lasts. Some of these will say, if it lasts for the whole battle or just a round. But I assume it's something like a sniper would use to help calm them down right before taking an aimed shot. And on my 5th turn, I received some trade goods. The way these work is every time I land on a new planet, I can roll a d6 to see how much I can sell them for there. And then I can choose to either keep them or sell them. And if I ever roll a 1 on this, they've become damaged and are now worthless. And on this planet, I can sell them for 4 credits. I'll go ahead and sell those because I desperately need some credits. So that is all the additional travel steps, and now we go to the familiar steps, starting with upkeep and ship repairs. So that is 1 credit plus an additional credit for having more than 6 crew members. And in my last battle, I had a few injured members of my crew, and I'd paid my full upkeep, but it was pointed out to me in my comments that injured crew members do not count towards my upkeep cost. I could retcon that and get those credits back, but I already paid them, so I'll just eat those credits due to my mistake. And if you notice any other mistakes I make, let me know in the comments. as I like to make my videos as accurate as possible, and I appreciate the rules clarifications. And speaking of medical care, no members of my team are in sick bay, so I'm not going to mess with that part. I've paid off all of my ship debt, and there's no damage to my ship, so I can skip those, and we'll go to assigning crew tasks. I'm going to have Danik, Baffy, and the bot Charlie all go looking for patrons. I am planning to do a mission battle this turn, but I'm going to see if I might be able to find some other jobs to do on a later turn. I roll a 1d6 and add 3 for 3 crew members searching, and get a total of 4. Well, that is unfortunate. I needed a 5 or higher to find a patron, or a 6 or higher to find 2. However, I am allowed to spend credits to increase this, so I'm going to go ahead and pay 2 extra credits so I can get 2 patrons and hope one gives me a job worth taking. Next, I'll have Rhett Joran go trading. 46. Well, I get to make another roll here on the loot table, starting with 10. All right, that's a weapon. 76. So, not that exciting. It's a melee weapon. Next is an 80. And I'll take back what I said about this being boring. That's a shatter axe. And using the weapon table from the Freelancer's Handbook, that weapon has a damage rating of 3. It is clumsy, similar to my brutal melee weapon, which gives it a -1 to brawling rolls against enemies with higher speed. However, it has the shockwave ability, which causes any enemy that survives a hit from it to be moved 1d6 inches directly backwards. And I'll go ahead and give that to Ugrok, and he'll move his brutal melee weapon into the ship's stash. And next, Dr. O is also going to go trading. 14. My crew seems to find a disproportionate number of instruction books. Dr. O is going to go ahead and read that and gain 1 experience point. Next, I'll have Beldara go exploring. 89. And she is offered a reward. When fighting the next campaign turn, I'll choose a random terrain feature, and if a crew member comes into contact with it and spends a combat action, they can gain 2 credits. And lastly, Ugrok will also go exploring. 77. Alright, so somewhere Ugrok found something on the gadget table that is damaged. And this is 37. And that result is an insta-wall. And this item lets the owner, once per mission, use a combat action to place a 2-inch long transparent wall on the battlefield. It's man height, it's impenetrable to attacks, but does not block line of sight or mental abilities. And it might dissipate at the end of each round. Oh, and it is damaged. So next I need to roll up the details for the 2 patron jobs I was offered. For the first one, I'll just roll these all together, figure out what kind of patron it is, roll up danger pay, the time frame, and then benefits, hazards, and conditions. The type of patron is an 8. Danger pay is a 4. Time frame is 6. Benefits 0. Hazards 3. And conditions 8. Alright, so I rolled this as a private organization with +1 danger pay. And it can be completed on this or the next campaign turn. There will be a benefit. There won't be any hazards, but there will be a condition. For the benefit, a 1, and for the condition, a 2. So with the benefit, that 1 gets me a roll on the loot table if I succeed on the mission. And for the condition, a 2 is demanding, which means the +1 danger pay is only available if I am successful. And for the second patron, for the type of patron, a 1. For the danger pay, a 10. For the time frame, a 2. Benefits, 3. Hazards, 4. And conditions, 9. Well, this one is a corporation. I get +1 to the rolls for danger pay, which doesn't really matter much here because I already rolled a 10 for that, which gets me plus 3 credits. And when I roll up my mission pay, I roll twice and select the best one. But even though that's really good danger pay, for time frame I rolled it has to be done this campaign turn, and I really want to finish up my mission. There is a condition, but I'm not going to bother rolling that because you are allowed to turn down any of the job offers the patrons give you. So I'll go ahead and just turn that job down, but I will take the other job that can be done next turn. There's no rumors to resolve because I'm currently on a quest. I've been saying mission this whole time, but it's a quest mission. Choose my battle. Of course, I will go ahead and choose to do my quest, the last battle for this quest. So next I'll determine deployment conditions for my quest battle. We've got 60. And this is a dangerous one to roll up. Delayed. 2 random crew members won't start on the table. At the end of each round, roll 1d6. If the roll is equal to or below the current round number, they may be placed on any point on your own battlefield edge. So my team's going to be a little outnumbered to start with. Next, I'll roll up a notable sight. 73. Well, I rolled up a person of interest. So maybe this is my contact. They're here waiting for me and a battle erupts around them, so I need to try to get to them to gain a bonus story point. And also on the battlefield earlier in the turn, Beldara rolled up a reward for collecting an item that will be also placed somewhere on the board. For the objective, since this is the final battle of a quest, it's always a fight off, and I must add +1 to the number of enemies faced, which will make this even more difficult since I'm starting with 2 fewer members at the start of the battle. Now I need to roll to see who I'm fighting, starting with the category, 36. And that is hired muscle, so maybe somebody else trying to collect the bounty on me from Galactic Solutions. And specifically, this is 82. And I rolled up security bots, so maybe I'm just simply meeting my contact in a restricted area. There's going to be +1 to their numbers, so +2 total for the last battle of my quest. They have a panic of 0. They're pretty slow with just a movement of 3. +0 combat, toughness of 5. And being a robot, they have a armor save of 6+, so they will be pretty tough to take down. They're careless, so you're +1 to seize the initiative. It says for a total of 0. Hired muscle will usually give you a -1 to seize the initiative. But they're fearless. They're never going to run away from morale. So I have to take down all of these bots to win this mission. To see how many of them there are, again, the way I've been playing, 1s, 2s, and 3s all equal 3. And a 5 or a 6 equals 5 to try to keep the teams more balanced. And I rolled a 3, so that is a 3. +2, there's going to be 5 security bots I'm facing off against. And with their team of 5, that will give them 1 specialist and 1 lieutenant. Now to see if there's a unique individual on a 9 or higher. And there is a unique individual. I've been encountering a lot of those in this campaign so far. Before I figure out who he is, I'm going to figure out the weapons for the security bots. The standards get a 5, and the specialist gets a 5 also. The standard enemies use column 2 for hand lasers, which seems fitting for some bots. And the specialist uses A, and so he's going to have a hunting rifle. Now for the unique individual, 39. Well, maybe this is a group here for a bounty after all. They're led by a callous merc with a speed of 4, combat skill of +2, 5 toughness. They have a luck of 1, and they carry an infantry laser and a blade. So apparently this guy took the bounty on my team, and he's brought along a group of security bots to help him out. So to start out, I need to figure out which 2 of my crew members are going to be delayed. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that will be 3 and 7. So Baffy and Beldara are going to be delayed to the battle. This battle takes place at a long-range transmission station on the planet Naltori, where Gibbs renegades are sending the data from Galactic Solutions to the proper authorities. There was a sudden commotion in the jungle outside the compound, and most of the crew left the area to investigate. Finding some security bots, they quickly dispatched. However, it didn't take long for them to realize that was just a decoy, as they hear laser fire and what they presume is a small starfighter landing back at the station. Charlie had stayed behind on guard duty, but has been dispatched himself, and Dr. O has found himself alone and pinned down. Dr. O is going to be my person of interest, the notable sight I rolled, and the crew needs to get to him and help him off the battlefield. And then Beldara rolled that she was offered a reward during her exploration, which means the crew has to interact with a specific terrain piece, and if they do, they gain 2 credits. I'm gonna say the facility's technician is operating a computer in one of the outbuildings or in the central building, and rescuing him will give the crew their reward. So Dr. O will be placed 2d6 plus 2 inches. That is 12 inches from the center, facing that direction. So 12 inches from the center of the board, and in this direction is going to get him right over here, which is actually kind of by my team. We'll just put him kind of laying down over here. He's been shot at. He's probably tripped and fallen over some things trying to get away, so we'll just kind of lay him down there, and the team needs to help him off the battlefield. For the extra reward I rolled, 1 and 2 will be the dark gray building, 3 and 4 the central platform, and 5 and 6 the light gray building. And they'll be in the light gray building. So for the light gray building over here, I'm just going to remove the top so we can see inside of it. And then I'll be placing the technician and a computer that he'll be working at inside of this. So my team just needs to get in there and interact with him to get the 2 credit reward. And as far as where my team is set up back here, we have our team kind of all in black over here. Danik Krell, Rhett Joran, and then Ugrak. And then over to the enemy's deployment area, we have the unique individual Zarveross, the specialist with the hunting rifle. Over here we have 2 just regular security bots, and here is their lieutenant and their last other security bot. And I'll point out that Charlie here is there just for looks on the battlefield. I cannot interact with him to do anything this battle. The gray areas around the battlefield are off limits, and that creates a space that is 30 inches by 30 inches in the middle. And as I showed earlier, the roof to the light colored building, and also for the dark colored building, I can take these off so I can potentially have figures interacting, moving around inside of these. And with the delayed condition I rolled up, at the end of each round I'll roll a d6, and if the result is equal to or lower than the current round, Beldara and Baffy will show up somewhere. It'll be over here in this corner where I've deployed, but until then, they're delayed in getting back here to the actual battle that's going on, having been distracted by whatever was going on in the jungle. As a reminder, my objective is a fight out, so I have to take out Zarveross and all of his security bots to win the battle. I'll roll to seize the initiative. Hired muscle gives me a -1, but the security bots give me a +1, and I'm outnumbered, so overall I get a +1 to this for a total of 8. But I get to add +2 for Rhett's Savvy of 2, which gives me a 10, which means I get to seize the initiative. So each of my crew members can do either a shooting action or a standard movement. They can't see anybody from where they are, so they'll just do some movements. Danik can move 4 inches over here. Ugrak can move 5 inches around over here. And then Rhett can move 4 inches kind of right up behind him. For my reaction rolls, only getting 3 this round. 2 4s and a 5. Well, those reaction numbers were completely useless to my team, so now we'll jump over to the enemy phase. We'll start with their regular security bots making their movements. Now they only have a movement rate of 3 inches, so they can dash a total of 4.5 inches. This one can come up here. They just have hand lasers, so they've only got a range of 9 inches. And these enemies have the AI of defensive, but I'm just going to play them a little different just so they will end up coming towards me here with their limited range weapons. And Zarveross has a movement rate of 4, so he can move and dash 6 inches, which will put him right up over here. And then this last security bot is going to hop right up here. And from right there, he can see all the way down here to Danik Krau. So he will go ahead and fire his hunting rifle. Danik doesn't really have cover, so this needs a 5+, but that weapon is heavy, so he gets a -1 to the roll, so he needs a 6, and that misses. So now going to my turn, we'll start with having Danik just come up here to Dr. O, and by foregoing any of his other actions this round, he can interact with him. So he'll essentially tell him to get to test to get the ship ready for takeoff in case they need to get out of here quickly. Now in my stash I have a Rage Out, a consumable that gives the user +2 speed and +1 to their brawling rolls. And I'm going to have Ugrok use this, because if Kieran uses this, they can benefit from that for the rest of the battle. Otherwise it's only for 1 round. So that will bump his movement up to 7. So he can now move and dash a total of 9 inches, which will allow him to get almost all the way over here by this tree. And then Rhett is going to move and dash 6 inches right over here behind these bushes and things. At the end of the round, I'm going to see if Baffy and Beldara show up. I need a 1. So they have not shown up yet. Well, I guess my team lucked out for the first round. Nobody got shot. I was able to rescue Dr. O, and we'll see what I can do here on round 2. Reaction rolls, just as bad as last time. And that's not good because my team didn't really have a chance to take any cover, but we'll see what happens. We'll start with the security bots here, and we'll have this one run 5 inches up into these bushes. This one's going to hang back a little bit so he can keep some cover. And then for their other security bots, their lieutenant is going to move 5 inches up here. He doesn't really have a good spot for cover. And their regular security bot is going to run 5 inches over here. He also doesn't really have any good spots for cover. Maybe he'll just come over here by this building. And since my reactions were slow, the specialist here can see down to Danik Krau again, and that is definitely wide open. So he needs just a 5+ to hit, and luckily he missed. And then for Zarveross, he could probably get into a spot where he could shoot Danik, but Danik has a weapon that could reach him back. So instead he is going to just hop up behind this bush, and from right there, he can see all the way down to Ugrok down here. His laser rifle has a range of 30 inches, and the board's only 30 inches, so that can definitely hit him. Ugrok does have some cover, though, behind all those trees and bushes and things. So Zarveross needs a 6, but he does have a +2 to this, and he hits that. Ugrok has a toughness now of 5, and he defends that, so he is pushed back 1 inch and stunned. And now moving to my slow phase, we'll have Danik start things out. He's just going to kind of retreat a little bit back here to some cover. Right there. And then he is going to fire his military rifle about 20 inches down here at that security bot. He needs a 6 because of cover, but has a +2 combat. And that hits. Security bots have a toughness of 5. That hits, but They also have an armor save of 6+, and that ends up taking him down. So Danik gets himself to a better position, props his rifle against the rocks, fires, and blows up the first security bot. And then moving over to Rhett's turn, since the enemy all got to move first, he no longer has a target in sight, so he is just going to kind of move around to the other side of this tree, and using these suggestions from the FAQ, the bipod he has equipped to his rifle cannot be used if he moved. But from there, he can see clear down here, wide open, and he'll fire 2 shots from his auto rifle at that security bot. Rhett has a +1 to hit, and this needs a 5+, and so that hits against a toughness of 5, and that stuns that security bot. And I almost forgot he has a second shot, which he misses. So machine gun fire comes down this way, and this security bot is hit, moved 1 inch back, and stunned. And speaking of stuns, Ugrok can go ahead and remove his stun as he activates, and he can move 7 inches with his rage out, which will allow him to actually move inside this building, almost in contact with that technician. Well, another round has gone okay here for my team, as they're doing alright even though they're outnumbered, taking down one of the security bots and stunning another, and avoiding dying from long distance shots from the enemy. At the end of the round, I'll see if my crewmates return. I need a 1 or a 2 this time, and Beldara and Baffy are still trying to get back here to the transmission station. And I'll go ahead and roll up a battle event for this turn. 31. Well, this might help me. Visibility change. If visibility is currently reduced, increase vision range by 1d6 inches. If it's currently unlimited, reduce it to 1d6 plus 6 inches. So visibility goes down to a total of 8 inches. So I'm not exactly sure what I think about this. The security bots all have hand lasers, so they won't really be affected by this. But I won't be getting shot at from long distances from Zarveross or their specialist. However, all of my long distance weapons are reduced as well. So I guess what happens here is there's some defenses set up at this outpost, and a bunch of mist producers have triggered to create a natural looking fog around the area to hide the outpost from intruders. Reactions for the next round? Alright, I got some 1s. So I'll give one of the 1s to Danik over here, I guess. He'll just do snap fire, kind of waiting for the opponents to do something, even though he won't be able to see anybody this round. And then the other one I'll give to Ugrok over here, and he is just going to move into contact with this technician and tell him to get out of here. So we'll just move him off the board. And then we'll go to the enemy phase. We'll start with having this security bot run 5 inches this direction. And then Zarveross is going to draw his blade and just charge 6 inches right towards the middle. This security bot, I suppose, will just follow behind with his hunting rifle. And then moving around over here, the stunned security bot will just move over here where he can see in here, but he can't fire because he was stunned. And then their last security bot is going to run 5 inches right out over here. And moving to my slow phase, since Danik didn't do anything with his snap fire, he is just going to run 6 inches out, kind of in the open, but doesn't matter too much this round. And then Rhett over on the back side of the battlefield is just going to kind of move around to the other side of this tree here so that he can maybe do a snap fire next round if he can activate before the enemies. And we'll roll to see if Beldara and Baffy show up this round. I need a 3 or lower. Alright, they show up. Alright, so they can show up anywhere along my table edge. I deployed on this 10 by 10 plate back here, so I'll put Beldara over here, and we'll go ahead and put Baffy over here, supporting his captain. And I finally get to roll 5 dice for my reactions, and I've got some good numbers. I can use a 1, a 2, and a 3. So to start out my turn, I'll assign the 3 to Danik, who will just stand there doing Snapfire. I will assign the 2 to Rhett, who will also do Snapfire, kind of waiting for this enemy down here to move into range. And then with my 1, Ugrok is going to come over here and get into a brawling match with this security bot. So the security bot has a pistol, so he has a +1. Ugrok gets to roll 2 dice, and he has a +1 because of his rage out, and then a +2 for carrying a melee weapon. He easily wins with a total of 8. And then for the toughness roll, the Shatter Axe has a +3 damage in the Freelancer's Handbook weapon table. So toughness of 5, but he actually beats that with a total of 4. So he is just simply stunned. Now that shockwave attachment causes the enemy to get pushed back 1d6 inches. So it goes flying back 4 inches. So it gets pushed all the way back here. And then since Ugrok won that brawl, he can make a free 2-inch move. He's just going to kind of move around this corner to make sure he can't be shot by this guy. And this guy does take a stun. And moving to the enemy phase, this security bot here isn't going to take the bait, and he's just going to move his 3 inches right up to here. And then Zarveross is going to move 6 inches right up here into some cover, and the useless marksman is going to dash 5 inches kind of right up behind him. And then moving over to the other side of the table, the stunned security bot is just going to remove his stun and move 3 inches this direction. And this security bot here is going to run up to cover. And when it gets up there, he is just within the 8 inches Rhett needs. Actually, he's not. So Rhett cannot do Snapfire. He's just barely out of range. So instead, moving to my turn, Rhett is just going to move up a little bit so he can now reach this security bot and fire his auto rifle. The bot is in cover, so he needs a 6, and he has a +1 combat, and that hits with the first shot against a toughness of 5, and that hits him. They do have armor, so he needs a 6+ to avoid that, and it gets past the armor and takes him down. So Rhett yells at Beldara, who just showed up, saying, "Watch this." And he fires his auto rifle and takes down the lieutenant security bot from the enemy's forces. And then going to Beldara's turn, she is just going to run straight up here behind this bush for some cover. And then we'll come over here to Baffy, who just showed up. And he is going to just kind of hop right up here out in the open. And from right there, he can see this security bot. And actually, he's going to go just a little further over. Well, not that far over. A little further over where he has pretty much a clear shot of this security bot. He's carrying an auto rifle now, so he's got 2 shots, and he needs a 5 or higher to hit. First shot misses, and second shot, that one hits against the armor of, I guess, toughness of 5. That is blocked, so he just takes 1 stun. So that pushes this robot 1 inch back, gives him a stun token, and then Danik is going to run over here in front of Baffy, and he's going to pull out his hand cannon and fire that. A hand cannon only has 1 shot, but if it hits, it deals +2 damage. He has a +2 to hit. It's wide open, so he needs a 5 or higher. And with a total of 6, that hits. And against the toughness of 5 with a +2 damage, that hits him. And now for the armor of 6, it gets past his armor. They take down another security bot. So another security bot goes down. And we'll roll up a battlefield event for the end of the 4th round, 96. So I rolled this up in a previous battle. Looks valuable. Select a random crew member, place a marker 1d6 inches from them, and if I obtain it, I gain 1d3 credits. It says a non-combat action, and I was curious about this the last time I played it. That means it's technically like a movement action, so I'd have to move into it, wait a turn, and then use another movement, but I'm just going to say I can use my second action, regardless of what that is, basically forfeit any further actions to pick that up. So for its location, we'll go Danik, Baffy, Rhett, Beldara, and then Ugrok. So that will be next to Baffy, and it will be 3 inches from him, that direction. So 3 inches from Baffy, based on the direction the board was originally set up in, is basically going to put that right next to Danik. So I guess when Dr. O was running for help, he apparently dropped a data pad, so we'll just put that right next to Danik. And 4 rounds into this battle, I am honestly kind of shocked at how well I'm doing. I've been stunned a couple times, but I haven't suffered any casualties. I've got my full team back with me, and there's only 3 enemies left, the unique individual and 2 security bots. Alright, reactions for the next round. I can only use the 3 with Danik. As the gunfire from the last round ends, things suddenly get quiet on the battlefield, and Danik tells the team to hold up, and he pulls out his military rifle and goes into snap-fire mode to shoot down anybody that might come through here. Now, normally the closest enemy to my team would go first, but Zarveross is smarter than that, and instead he's going to send his security bot forward. So he will come running up here, dashing 5 inches, and when he gets to here, within 8 inches, Danik will fire his military rifle, making sure that's in range. This is a wide open shot with a +2 combat modifier. But that's only a 4 total, so Danik does miss with that, which means the security bot pulls up his hunting rifle and fires back at Danik. This is wide open, so it only needs a 5+. And actually that misses because the hunting rifle is heavy, giving it a -1 to hit if he moved. So Danik managed to avoid the rifle fire from that security bot, but now Zarveross knows right where he is, so he is just going to move up 4 inches, which will put him right by this other pillar. And from right there, he is within 6 inches of Danik. He's going to fire his infantry laser, which has snapshot, and that gives him a +1 to hit, plus he has a +2 combat, and it's a wide open, so he's got a total of +3, needing only a 5 to hit. This isn't looking good, and that hits Danik. Danik's toughness is only 4. That hits him. He has combat armor. He's got an armor save of 5 or 6. Oh no, Danik gets taken down. Oh, but I just remembered he has a point of luck, so he is going to be moving 1d6 inches in a random direction, 3 inches that direction. So 3 inches will make him lunge right over here, hopping out of the way. And then we'll go over to the other side of the battle where the other security bot is going to move right out over here. He's not going to move into a brawl because he has a lower combat skill than Ugrok, but he will fire his laser pistol from there. Ugrok is tucked against the wall there pretty good, so I'll say he does have cover, but the hand lasers have snapshot just like the infantry laser, so he needs a 6 with a +1. And that misses. Ugrok will then charge out of this building and engage the security bot in a brawl. So he is +3 with his Shatter Axe and his Rage Out against +1 for the security bot. And with a total of 7, he wins. And the security bot's toughness is 5, that does get past his toughness because Shatter Axes have a +3 damage modifier. And then for his armor save of 6+, it does not make it. So Ugrok comes out here and just splits this bot in two with his Shatter Axe, leaving just one security bot and Zarveross left on the battlefield. And since I don't think I'll be going back into this building, we'll put the roof back on top. And then we'll go over to the other side of the board. Baffy wants to fire at these guys that just shot at his friend, but Danik yells to him to pick up this data pad, so he runs over and uses an action to pick this up. But Beldara and Rhett in the back, they like to shoot stuff, so they're both going to move up. Rhett is feeling emboldened with the screen generator he's now wearing to protect him, so he's just going to move up a few inches over here, out into the open, because that's the only way he can get close enough within 8 inches to knock over a tree and then shoot at Zarveross. He's firing into cover, so he needs a 6, and he's got a +1 combat. First shot hits. Zarveross has a toughness of 5, and he does block that, so he takes 1 stun. We'll go ahead and fire the other shot, needing a 5 or 6, and that is a miss, and he is not aiming. So Rhett's shooting ricochets off this pillar, and Zarveross has to jump out of the way, suffering 1 point of stun, and that's going to open the door for Beldara. She can move 4 inches, she can shoot 8 inches. Right up here, that puts her in range, and she's just going to unload with her rattle gun. This is wide open, and her nano sludge negates the heavy aspect of her weapon, so she needs just a straight up 5 or higher. First shot misses. Second shot also misses, and her third shot unfortunately misses with all 3. And things are starting to get real here towards the end of this battle. Reaction rolls for the next round. Alright, I can do a lot with 2 1s, a 2, and a 3. And I'll end up giving my 3 to Danik, my 2 to Rhett, and my 1s to Beldara and Baffy. And I guess we'll say Beldara just kept her finger on the trigger and she'll fire 3 more shots at Zarveross. Since she didn't move, she doesn't have the heavy penalty from her weapon, so she has a +1, needing a 5 or higher, and she is aiming. First shot hits against Zarveross' toughness of 5. He defends that. He's pushed back an inch, so that will move him back a little bit. We'll move this up to 2 stuns, and just to double check, she can still see him through the mist at 8 inches away. Second shot, that also hits against a toughness of 5. It doesn't get past his toughness, but that would be 3 stuns. I'm going to have him go ahead and use his point of luck. I'm not sure if luck is normally supposed to be used from the 3 stuns, but we'll go ahead and do that. He's going to move 3 inches that direction. Alright, so that will put him over here and put him at still 2 stuns. I only moved him a little because he runs into the terrain, and he is still barely in range for Beldara to take her final shot. And a 2 + 1 is 3. She misses with her last shot. We'll go now to Danik. He'll pull out his hand cannon, and he is within the 6-inch range to fire at Zarveross. And since he's so close, the pistol gets +1 to hit, so a total of +3. It's a wide open shot needing a 5 or higher, and it's aimed. First shot, only shot, hits against the toughness of 5. This weapon has a +2 damage. Gets only a 4, which does not get past the toughness, but that does take him down with the 3 stuns and you're out rule. So they have succeeded in taking down the unique individual, and now there's just this 1 security bot remaining. And Baffy is going to take a couple steps forward here, where he is within firing range, and fire his auto rifle. Wide open, he needs a 5+. Misses the first one, and the second shot hits with the second one against a toughness of 5. And that beats the toughness. So Baffy, who hasn't done too much on the battlefield in my campaign, shows up at the last minute, collects the data pad that Dr. O had dropped, and then is able to fire his auto rifle and takes down the last security bot, ending the battle with none of my crewmates suffering any casualties. And as Gibbs renegades search through the mist on the battlefield, they notice Zarveross's body is not here. Having been taken down by stuns and not a fatal blow, the callous mercenary has escaped the battlefield to fight another day. To start out my post-battle activities, I'll roll to find out if these enemies are rivals. A 1 would mean they are, and they are not. I skipped step 2, which was to determine patron status, and go to determine quest progress. Everything listed here has to do with getting you to the finale of your quest, which is what I just completed. So we'll determine quest stuff here in a little bit, and instead we'll jump to get paid. I earn 1d6 credits, and that is 4 credits. Some bonuses from this battle is I gain a story point for saving the person of interest, saving Dr. O on the battlefield. I also gain 2 credits for saving that satellite technician. I also had that battle event I rolled up, which was that data pad that Dr. O dropped that I picked up, and that will net me 1d3 credits. 1 and 2 is 1, 3 and 4 is 2, 5 and 6 is 3, so just 1 credit for that. Next, I'll roll up my battlefield find. 47. Well, I just turned in a personal trinket when I got to this planet, but I just found another one that I need to find its rightful owner. Luckily, these enemies weren't an invasion threat because this planet has +1 to these rolls. So we go to gathering loot. And since I have completed the final stage of my quest, I get to roll 3 times on the loot table. I'll roll the category for all 3 of these at once. We've got 36, 42, and 75. And I think my team's going to be doing a lot of repair work because my 36 and 42 both got me results of damaged gear, and both of those allow me to roll twice on the gear subtable for some damaged equipment, and then I also rolled for an odds and ends result. I'll make 4 rolls on the gear subtable for my damaged equipment. 29, 78, 26, and 72. My 26 and 29 give me some gun sights. My 72 gives me a protective item, and my 78 a utility item. We'll go ahead and roll up my gun sights. We've got 73 and 27. That gets me a quality sight, which increases the range of the weapon by 2 inches and allows me to re-roll 1s if I only fire a single shot. And I got another tracker sight. I already have one of these. I'm going to go ahead and burn through a story point to re-roll that. Hoping for something else. 17. And that gets me a laser sight, which can be attached to a pistol and gives it the snapshot trait, which will make it even more accurate from close distances. Next, I'll roll up the protective item and the utility item. Protective is a 67 and utility item 4. So those rolls give me some flex armor and an auto sensor. Flex armor gives the character +1 toughness if they did not move on their last activation. And I will point out that armor and screens can be combined. I can't wear 2 pieces of armor, but I can use my screen generator that I have and the flex armor, for instance. And the auto sensor allows the character, whenever an enemy moves within 4 inches in line of sight, they can make a free shot at them using a pistol they're carrying. It's resolved even if the enemy is in contact with the character, and it hits only on a natural 6. So this should be given to somebody that will be up close to the enemy. And I get 1 roll on the odds and ends table, hoping for an implant. But I'm getting 2 consumables, and those are both 68. 2 more stills to go with the 2 I got at the start of the turn. I think my dice really want me to have a character set up as a designated sniper. Next, we'll move on to experience points. Somehow, no one on my team ended up becoming casualties. I thought for sure I was not going to do well in this battle, but somehow did. So everybody participating gains 3 experience points. And Danik took down the unique individual, and he also inflicted the first casualty, so he gains a total of 5 experience points. He's going to use most of his points to increase his speed up to 5. And Rhett was saving up his experience points, and he now has 10 points, so he will buy himself a point of luck. And the rest of the characters will save up their points for something on a later turn. Next, for purchasing, I'm going to pay 3 credits for a roll on the gadget table. 64. And I think I know why my team is so hard to kill. Almost everybody has some defensive equipment. I just found another screen generator. And I won't sell anything or do any advanced training, so next we'll roll up a campaign event. 31. Well, this works out since I just finished a quest. One of the crew overheard something interesting. Add 1 rumor. For the character event, we'll go in the order of Danik, Baffy, Dr. O, Rhett, Beldara, and Ugarak. And that is Dr. O, and his event is 40. And I'd actually almost forgotten, but since Dr. O is a precursor, they get to roll twice for the character event and choose which one they want. So his second result is 58. This is kind of a tough one. I have the option of you've had time to reflect on your adventures and gain some experience points, or earn a little on the side for +2 credits. Dr. O's motivation is wealth, and in that battle he was for some reason carrying a data pad that got the crew 1 credit, so he's done another little job on the side, gaining 2 credits. The crew isn't sure why, but he is making some extra money on the side. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned a blooper reel, and if you listened closely during the battle, you may have realized I didn't always pronounce the unique individual's name the same way. And that's because before the battle, I kept going back and forth on what I should actually name him, and I could not for the life of me remember as I was recording what his name was supposed to be. So coming up is every mention of his name throughout this video. I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming. Thanks for watching, enjoy these bloopers, and play well. So I have to take out Zarveross, 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 and Zarveross, 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 and Zarveross, 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 Zarveross. Zarveross is Zarveross.